It's a podcast where we are currently breaking down and celebrating the films of Gene Wilder. And damn it. I re-edited it in my head. Let's try it again.
Good start.
Yeah. Mondays are always rough.
See, Matt, I told you nothing's changed.
Yeah, but to say, it doesn't seem like much has changed since I've been gone.
Here we are, 75 episodes since you've been here. And
can't even get through the intro.
No.
Feels like it. Matt, give me a level again. Are you talking soft?
Am I talking soft? I don't know.
Just keep talking.
Hey, how's it going? You guys suck at this show because you can't even get through the intro. Get wrecked.
Wow.
I wonder if it's that channel.
No, this definitely was the channel too because I wiggled it. Huh. And I jiggled it just a little bit. Wiggle it.
Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
You are listening to The Wilder Ride, getting wilder by the minute. Here are your hosts, Alan Sanders and Walt Murray.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Wilder Ride, getting wilder by the minute, a podcast where we are breaking down and celebrating the Gene Wilder film, Young Frankenstein, one cultured, sophisticated man about town at a time. I'm your host, I'm Alan Sanders.
And I'm your co-host, Walt Murray.
And we've got an interesting lay of the land coming your way the next couple of minutes, and who better than to bring back Matt Gray, who happens to be a land surveyor.
That's right, folks.
I could think of some other people that might be better, but, you know.
Well,
okay. Well, I feel honored to be here, I suppose.
Welcome back, Matt Gray.
That's right. The fan favorite is back, I'm sure. I've gotten a lot of interesting fan mail. You know, my mailbox is, I open it up, I get the letter, and it's, you know, letters cut out of a magazine that say, I'm watching you. I'm like, oh, those darn fans from the old Wilder Ride podcast sending me mail.
I love my spam folder. I get so much mail there. I'm the most popular guy in the world.
And they really care about me.
They do.
Nigerian princes want me to invest with them. It's great. I'm going to be rich.
Yes. I always say that scam, if you will. You definitely want to go ahead and send them whatever information they're looking for.
Okay, sure. Scam. Stand for some sort of financial opportunity, obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what's funny? I don't know if this has happened to you guys. We'll get to our Puttin on the Ritz scene here in just a second, but have you had lately the Facebook sort of thing where someone friends you or asks to friend you and like, wait a minute, I thought we were already friends, so you accept it, and then you realize their profile has been hijacked?
Oh.
Yes,
I have not had this.
You've not had that happen yet?
I've had people send me a message, and it's like, hey, haven't seen you in a while. And then I'm like, I saw you like yesterday. And then I realize it's not them.
But it's through Facebook Messenger.
Wow.
But you go look, their profile picture is their current profile picture. But if you don't go dig into this duplicate page and realize, oh my gosh, there's only like 10 posts, and they only have like 7 friends instead of the normal hundreds that they would have had. So the last time this happened, a friend of mine, I knew it was exactly what was happening. And all of a sudden I get, hey! I'm like, hey, by the way, I was meaning to ask, did you need to use my credit card machine? And the person goes, well, yeah, how did you know? I'm like,
my lucky day.
It just seemed like something that we were talking about the other day. Go ahead and give me your numbers right now. Is it? Well, no, I need to have access to it. I'm like, no, go ahead. Just give me the numbers. I need your expiration and I need the numbers on the back. Well, I don't want to do it that way. I'm like, okay, fine. We can do it the old fashioned way. I need your bank account, your routing number. Yep. And I completely turned it on them to the one point where whoever was working this like call center in Bali or something, I get a little Facebook, like they used the microphone to record a message to me. And basically I played it. It was like, blow it, blow it, blow it. I'm like, blow it? I'm like, what's that? I think he meant to like mean suck it, but he didn't know the English translation. Yeah, gotcha. So he was telling me to blow it. So I just wrote back. I'm like, well, that's just not nice, but is that the password? And I just kept playing with him until he finally stopped messing with me. And then I went and informed the other woman that I was like, by the way, you probably need to change your password. Someone's tried to do this.
Amazing.
And then I cut and pasted all the screen grabs and I shared it with everybody. And it was just hysterical. So you got to have fun with these people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they deserve every bit of grief they get.
All right. Well, let's get to minute number 81 here to start off the work week. And we have got a fun couple of minutes coming your way. When we last left, Walt, we were here. Eric Nash was with us. We were just getting the show kind of underway. We had the Theater of Skeptics, all the people from the Transylvania Neurological Society. They were all out there. They weren't going to give the doctor a whole lot of benefit of the doubt until he suddenly got his monster to take a few steps. We are going to open with Inga continuing clapping at the audience who's finally seems to enjoy the walking forward, the walking backward. And we will end this minute with the line, pants with stripes. I wonder if someone's going to jail?
Well,
are they playing for the Yankees?
Maybe. Yeah, they could.
We'll have to find out what happens here.
If he's agile enough, he's certainly got the size for it.
I don't think we mentioned it yet on Friday. Two things I forgot on Friday. One, we mentioned that he acted like a dog, where he was getting a little dog treat. I totally forgot this note, that it was discovered in an interview many, many years later with Larry King, that Gene Wilder admitted that it was an M&M that he popped into the monster's mouth.
Really?
So that little thing you see him pop in his mouth, that's an M&M.
That's funny. I didn't even really realize if there was anything. I didn't know if he was just acting or really threw something
No,
in
he really put a little M&M into his mouth. The other thing is, did we comment on how he's still wearing those big, giant boots?
I don't think we did. I know
if we don't, it bears repeating.
And I forgot to mention that. But yeah, and he is lugging those things around, and those have got to be 20 pounds.
When he's walking heel toe and then toe heel, they're clumping, and you can see those soles are easily 2 or 3 inches thick. They are heavy, big boots.
Yeah, and those aren't just your normal wear-arounds.
And I think that's going to play a factor as we move into these minutes here, because I am absolutely amazed at what we're going to be doing with the creature. But first, I start off just after Inga is clapping in the wings at finally turning the audience over to Gene Wilder's side, or Dr. Frankenstein's side. Where did this black kerchief come from that he's wrapping up in his hand? He did not have this in the last minute. All of a sudden, after the insert of Inga clapping, he's got this black silk scarf, and he rolls it up in his hand.
Maybe he's a magician?
Well, it did just magically appear.
It was a part of the show, folks. I have a clock now.
Yeah, they cut out the part with the rabbits and the exploding flower stand and all the other fun stuff.
Well, funny you mention cut out something.
Okay, here we go.
We actually have another portion of the scene well before we get to the song and dance number, right after the toe heel walking back to his original position, and we cut to Inga in the wings. We actually have Freddy calling off stage, "The milk bottles, please." Igor, dressed in tails, walks on stage with 1 empty and 1 full bottle of milk and hands them to Freddy. Igor, under his breath, "You're doing beautifully. Tighten up the pauses and don't lose your energy. You're killing him." Then, Freddy puts the empty milk bottle in the monster's left hand. His left arm dips down, then straightens itself. Freddy then puts the full milk bottom in the monster's right hand. His right arm sags way down, but then with tremendous effort, he brings his arm level again. There's a burst of applause from the audience. Freddy then takes the 2 milk bottles from the monster's hands and gives them back to Igor, who returns to the wings at stage left. Freddy touches the monster on the back. The monster opens his eyes, enjoying his ovation. Now, in this case, he had told the monster to close his eyes. In the footage, they actually tied a blindfold around the monster to show that he could figure out the weight all by itself and level his arms all by himself without looking.
Okay.
Walt is extremely impressed.
Yeah, that's shockingly... I'm glad they cut that.
Yeah, I don't think we needed that. We realized the heel toe heel. They've won the audience over. Why do we need this next little visual gag of one arm is going to be holding an empty bottle, one's going to hold a heavy bottle, and he's going to be able to automatically compensate and hold them back level?
Not a very necessary scene, but I will say it would have been nice to see Igor out there with his little suit and bow tie.
Always good to see Igor.
I thought that would have been nice.
Now, there is an outtake of this. You can find that this has actually been released, that they just cut this. They did film the whole milk bottle thing, but they actually had an ad-libbed line as well, where Freddy notices Igor wearing his coat and tails, and he said, "Well, where's your hump?" He goes, "It doesn't come out at night."
Oh.
That is one piece I wish had been left in.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That may be the only thing from the script that's been cut so far that I really kind of wish had been left in, just because I do like the hump gag.
Yeah, apparently they don't make tuxedos with henchmen in mind, so he had to leave the hump at home.
Oh.
He couldn't take the hump out at night.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense,
Which is funny because every time we've seen him has been at night for the most part, so he's always got his hump. Maybe he means he can't take it out at night. Maybe. Like he can't take it out on the town.
Or he may have it at the hump cleaner.
Which makes me wonder, is his hump like Watto from, what's the Schwarzenegger movie.
Yes.
They redid it recently, too. Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Where you think you know who the actual leader of the resistance is on Mars, but then when you pull the shirt back, there's this like mass, and it's like a open your mind.
Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
Yeah, it's
maybe that's what
fully
it is.
Self-aware.
Maybe Igor's not allowed to take Watto out to the theater.
That could be. There's a whole storyline here that is kind of left out on the hump. Yeah.
I think they should make a sequel about the hump. Igor's Hump.
A good spinoff.
Mel Brooks' final film.
Young Watto.
Young Watto. So anyway, that whole scene got completely removed, and then some additional dialogue got removed because when we come back, he then starts off, which we do have in the film. Ladies and gentlemen, up until now, you have seen the creature perform the simple mechanics of motor activity, but for what you are about to see next, we must enter quietly into the realm of genius. And then we cut the lights off. This is what he was supposed to continue to say. And believe me when I say that I am, myself, as in awe of the gifts I possess as if I were merely observing them in some other person. That's a little narcissistic, don't you think?
Well, he does have a god complex that does not take a hiatus.
I think we don't want those lines. Had they left them, it would have turned me more sour to the Doctor.
Yeah,
remember, we're starting to try to see this little turn. We saw him, even though he brought it back to me when we were talking about being in the cell, but that he was going to train this monster. He was going to take care of this monster. That's what we talked about all last week. And then, it sort of shifted to, I want everyone to see what I have done. But I think this would have gone way too far back the other way. I would have lost some of the sympathy that I was starting to get for the Doctor.
I agree. And I think the thread that I'm seeing is that when things are good, he's very parental. And when things go bad, he becomes very narcissistic. And he really wants to protect his creation and protect his reputation. But when things are good, he is very kind of parental and easy with the monster. But he goes wacko when things start to go bad.
Now, something that we don't see is another stage direction here is we're supposed to see Igor as they're getting ready when he says, ladies and gentlemen, and then, of course, mesdames and messieurs, from what was once an inarticulate mass of lifeless tissue, may I now present a cultured, sophisticated man about town. We're supposed to see Igor rolling out a grand piano and then sits at it, and he's supposedly the one who's playing the piano music.
Yes, I have seen that clip running around the internet, and and he's sitting there with no hump,
right,
and playing away,
playing the piano with full tuxedo, and the full tails.
Which apparently he actually plays piano. He's actually a musician. I don't know how.
I knew he had a big thing for jazz, and so he and Mel Brooks would spend a lot of time talking about jazz because Mel Brooks was also a fan of jazz and jazz music.
Yeah, and I don't remember where I read this, but that had some level of skill in the music area, so it would make sense to plug that in. But it would have been better with the hump, I think.
Now we continue back to the film, chatting about this minute. And we now know where the scarf came from. That's been shoved off to the side in the blackout because we have him address the audience and talks about him being a cultured, sophisticated man about town. The lights go down. We hear, hit it. And then the lights suddenly come up. I have to ask. First, Matt, you are much newer to this film than we have been. Tell us your thoughts when the spotlight first popped up, and what did you see?
Well, I saw what looked like a very dapper Mel Brooks with his top hat and his...
Mel Brooks?
Oh, Mel Brooks. I'm so sorry. Well,
wow, you saw Mel Brooks. That's amazing.
But that was just because I'm crazy. You guys already know that. Gene Wilder is what I meant to say. And standing next to him was an even more dapper, I'd say, monster, his bow tie also looks like about the same size as maybe a foot-long sub.
I know, the thing is huge.
That is gigantic. And I think I was watching this with my dad, and I audibly said, what? When the lights came on, and I saw him in the suit. I was like, what? What's happening right now?
And it was just what? You didn't say any other words.
I said, what? And my dad was laughing, obviously.
The thing is, and some of the boxes and the DVD art that came out after the movie initially came out, showed sort of this pose and sort of gave it away, which I don't like when they have that on the box, because this took me so off guard seeing it for the first time.
Yep.
I went like, I added more words than what. I was like, what the fuck? What the he's dressed. Talk about the gorilla. Now we're actually in this is like the tuxedo we call the gorilla suit. So here's this big 7.5 foot long gorilla now dressed in full gorilla suit, but the tux and tails gorilla suit, not an actual
Well, I think by this point in the movie, the first time I saw it, the movie was so crazy that nothing surprised me at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure, that fits.
Remember what I said last week when we were wrapping this up? I said, it feels to me we shifted out of Frankenstein and into King Kong.
Yeah, it does have that sense.
I can't help but draw the same illusions. We already called him a gorilla. Now he's wearing the quote-unquote gorilla suit. We are watching basically the song and dance act of King Kong.
Yeah, we are. And I wondered if it was an homage to King Kong or if this was just something that they came up with kind of independently.
It had to be, because think about it. It's in a theater. It's a distinguished one-night-only performance. It's supposed to be a group of dignitaries that are going to be wowed. It's supposedly this thing that no one's ever seen before. It's supposed to be what's going to put the guy on the map, right? Mm-hmm. So this whole thing is just one allusion to King Kong. And of course, much like we know the Frankenstein story, we all know the King Kong story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one difference is, well, and we'll get to this. I'm not going to skip ahead because I haven't watched ahead yet, but it really is supposed to be the credibility moment for Dr. Frankenstein or Frankenstein.
Well, it's Frankenstein now.
Yeah, that's right. Golly, I can't keep all this straight. Yes, Dr. Frankenstein. It's supposed to be his credibility moment. And, again, his narcissism shows through in a lot of this, even though he is still on the monster side. But, he wants this to be his shining moment. So, and as we know, that doesn't always work out very well.
I want to ask, how impressive must it be for a couple of things here? Remember we last chatted, we said we don't know how long it was going to take to train his monster. When we left the cell, we kind of faded to the sign, one night only, the creature being, put on by for the Transylvanian Neurological Society. We said it could have been weeks, could have been months, we have no idea. Did you have to teach, or how long did it take to teach your kids how to snap their fingers to do?
Boy, that's a good question.
Because I remember having to show my daughters over and over what I was doing, and they had to practice and practice. It took them a while to learn how to snap their fingers.
Yeah, which is it takes a lot of agility to do that. So it is tough for kids, and hand strength. So
Matt's looking puzzled.
Well, I mean, I've never had to. I mean, obviously,
Matt doesn't know how to snap
kids things. Obviously, but snapping fingers. I can't remember the first time I learned that and how long it took me. And now I'm trying to think about it.
Most kids I know, it's something they practice because all of a sudden they see someone do it, and it registers usually at a pretty young age. That how did you make that do that? And they do the little, and they twist their hands instead. And it's like nothing happens. It's like, I'm not twisting my hand. You have to put just enough pressure, but then release at the last second. And at around second 52, right on the chorus line, the repetition of Puttin on the Ritz, before we hear it, he does 3 in beat, in time, before he bellows the line. I was impressed.
That is impressive. I didn't really catch that, but that is very impressive.
So, on the heels of his snapping fingers and already kind of dancing, not perfectly in their choreography could use some work. If this was Dancing with the Stars, I'd be like, your footwork was a little off and you needed to probably be a little bit more in tune with one another. But after he snaps, we finally hear the creature speak. Matt,
you could call it that. I've made similar noises on the toilet after some bad Mexican.
Honey, bring me the phone books. I got to put my feet up on this one.
Yep.
and that was the Matt that we were looking for today. He has arrived.
AKA the fan favorite.
That burrito supreme is not doing so well. I'm going to buckle up on this one, so I'm going in for a ride on Wet and Wild.
Man, it's not even dinner time yet. I can't wait.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh. Honey, put the music on out there. I don't want you to hear what's going on in here. Sounds like a splatter fest.
Open up all the windows.
No matter what the neighbors say.
Bring me the Febreze, quick!
The garden outside slowly dying.
Losing consciousness.
The Febreze screams in agony.
We're exactly, the can runs out of the room.
So I guess we get to hashtag Febreze on this episode, and that company is going to be like, what in the heck?
We're looking.
On here?
We are looking for product placement.
That is our cease and desist order of the week.
The podcast ends as a result of Febreze unable to handle a Burrito Supreme backlash at Matt Gray's house.
Our cans do not run out of rooms.
Well, maybe it didn't run, but it certainly wept.
We're idiots.
What's new?
When he yells this line, you know what? We live in such a hyper-politically correct time, but I can't help think he's trying to imitate somebody who is sort of mentally challenged, the way he says these words.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, he can snap and he can dance, but he doesn't have the ability to fully articulate language, and so it comes off as, Ritz! He can't even put the tss on the end. It's just, Ritz! It's just...
Yeah, and I think that it's pointing to the fact that he is, he's progressing, but he's not there yet.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a ways to go. And I guess we know that he still has this imbalance, and the doctor's still working on him. But,
are we talking about me or the monster?
Yes, we're talking about you.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, your brother
Imbalance,
giving me some notes this
well.
week on some things you need to work on.
Dang it.
Well, did you notice here, and I think we talked about this before, that Gene is like 5'10", 5'11", so he's kind of an average height guy, and Peter Boyle still towers over him by a good 5 or 6 inches here. So I wonder if they've got him on a platform in addition to...
No, in this case, he looks like, and the top hat helps. You've got a tall top hat, you got the broad shoulders. Technically, he's supposed to be 7 inches taller than Gene, and it pretty much looks like that.
Be about right.
It also helps the camera's a little lower shooting up, and that does add to that sense that Peter Boyle is a little bit bigger. What I did want to mention, and it's going to become even more prevalent in the next minute, is don't forget, those boots he's wearing are, we saw the soles when he walked out, are a good 2 or 3 inches thick. He's not wearing tap shoes.
No, he's not.
And by the way, when he did his heel-toe, toe-heel, no clickety-clack.
Nope.
I apparently they've foleyed some things in here that aren't real.
Sounds of convenience.
Why Puttin' on the Ritz? What do you think? Why pick this song?
I don't know. I've wondered about that several times, and I think for one thing, it had to be a song with 2 parts so that you could have 2 different people singing, and it also had to have a line simple enough to be delivered by the monster in that way. And it had to, I think, also had to be something that the audience was familiar enough with that they could pay attention to what was going on stage without trying to figure the song out. So it had to have kind of some simple elements to it, and that would be my guess. I mean, I'm no expert on music, but that would be my guess as to why this was one of the songs that they worked with. According to,
let's see, the ultimately factual resource Wikipedia, I think on this one we can. It's not a political thing, so I'm going to go with it. Put on the Ritz is a song written by Irving Berlin. He wrote it in May of 1927, first published on December 2nd, 1929. It was registered as an unpublished song August 24th, 1927, and then again on July 27th, 1928. It was introduced by Harry Richmond and the chorus in the musical film Puttin' on the Ritz. That was in 1930. According to the complete lyrics of Irving Berlin, this was the first song in film to be sung by an interracial ensemble. We have to remember there are 2 versions of the lyrics, the original lyrics and then an updated that was a little more sensitive to some of the lines being called out to people who live in Harlem. The title derives from the slang expression to put on the Ritz, which means to dress very fashionably, apparently even if you're not capable of supporting yourself that way, but you're going to put on the Ritz.
yes.
So it's about fooling people. It's about fooling people into thinking you're something better than you actually are.
I know it well.
I didn't realize I'd found my theme song. So that makes sense to pick that song that would be about, putting on airs, trying to pretend you're something that you're not. And in this case, pretending that the monster is actually that cultured, sophisticated man about town. He's certainly putting on an act. He's putting on the Ritz, but he really, as we'll see later, he's not quite the sophisticated, cultured man about town that Gene Wilder's Dr. Frankenstein introduces him as.
No, not at all.
Now, I do want to just very quickly, just so that way you know what the lyrics kind of changed from and to. And again, imagine this was the first, which is kind of, everything's in context. 1927, writing this song, 1929 gets published, 1930 gets used in a film, way ahead of its time, but still, the 30s, a completely different sort of social moray than what we have today in the United States. So you have to keep that context in mind. The original lyrics, I'm going to start off with, if you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where Harlem sits? Putting on the Ritz, spangled gowns upon the bevy of highbrows from down the levee, all misfits, putting on the Ritz. So obviously talking once again more about what the lyrics of the song, you've got all these people poor in Harlem that pretend they're rich and well-to-do when they're really not. The lyrics that we use in the movie, which are the lyrics I learned thanks to Taco in the 80s.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits, putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits, putting on the Ritz.
Because I never saw the movie Puttin' on the Ritz, was, if you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits, putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes and cutaway coat, perfect fits, putting on the Ritz. So much safer lyrics, still kind of saying similar things about still putting on an air, but not without necessarily debasing an entire group of people.
Not without without the racism, and really speaking to a broader audience. And it is kind of an interesting choice too. Talking about that the doctor really is also putting on the Ritz too.
He is,
because he is trying to act sophisticated and professional and all that, and he's really a disaster. And he's about to have everything blow up on him.
How do you feel? We all have to do this at some point of kind of stepping it up. If we go somewhere, if we're going to let it be a gala or a gathering, but some people love this. They just feel so super comfortable. How do you feel when you have to go to one of these more stuffy affairs?
I hate when I've got to put on slacks to go to a meeting at work. I'm a shorts and t-shirt person, and I do not like dressing up. I don't even like dressing up for church if I don't have to.
I mean, not at all. So there's never a time where you feel like, okay, I don't do this often. I don't mind dressing to the nines.
I don't mind doing it.
You just prefer not to?
I just prefer not to. I don't like wearing ties. I get real uncomfortable in them, and I'm not a dress.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not going to my own wedding in a suit.
You're getting married?
I don't know if you're going to have a lot of say-so in that, but you can pretend like you do now.
I can have dreams, can't I?
Yeah. Enjoy your freedoms while you still have it.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Your delusion of
And if you marry the right person, she will have you convinced that you still have a say-so in your life, and that's the beauty of a really brilliant wife. Because you're really not in charge of anything.
Okay.
Ever again.
I can't wait, fellas.
So I should have realized at that point, my decision-making days were done.
Yeah. Long gone.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, I'm going to say I don't mind the occasional dressing up. What I hate is when I'm in a room of stuffy people who are pretending to be something they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen with or without dress coats and pants and stuff. I don't mind the occasional go out. Hey, we're in the tie, the suit. You maybe doing something special at anniversary. It's kind of nice to do that, I think, to kind of spruce up. I always get my kids are like, wow, you look good. Why don't you do this every day? I'm like, that because if I did it every day, you wouldn't think I look good. You'd be like, this it's a special occasion. If everybody was super, then no one's super, right? So,
well, you can almost count on if I've got a white shirt on, and particularly if it has buttons, I'm going to go out the door looking fine. I'm going to come back.
You'll know what you ate.
Yeah, looking like a buzzard has been perched on my shoulder all night. I am going to come back covered in stuff. I'm like a 6-year-old, and I don't know why. We can go somewhere and not even eat, and I come back looking like I dropped a lasagna on my shirt.
Yeah, that adds up.
It just is uncanny.
And keep that note in mind, because I think we're going to see something amazing, just how amazing this tux is that the creature's wearing. Because later he's going to scale some walls, and that thing is still pristine white.
It's amazing.
So, well, I will tell you, I don't mind, in quote, putting on the Ritz for me and the wife if we're going out. I hate, just absolutely hate. Like, it causes me to start getting angry when I'm with stuffy people pretending to be something they're not. That actually drives me nuts. And that's when I feel like I'm not going to that event, because I know what kind of people I'm going to run into. Like, if all of us, let's put it this way, all of us, if we were to say, well, let's just all dress up and go out, I think we'd all have a great time, and we would probably do it. But when I go to like some of these certain fundraisers, I'm just like, oh, come on, I just don't want to be there.
I really don't like being around pretentious people.
Yeah, and, the pretense. The Elizabeths.
The Elizabeths, yeah. Those are exactly the kind of things I don't like. And I also probably have some sensitivity issues. Like, I don't like stuff clamping around my neck like a tie. And I've been in jobs that I hated where I had to wear a tie. And but, I do have to dress up for court every once in a while and stuff like that. I don't mind that. I don't like doing it in July or August in Georgia.
Yeah.
But, it's something that I will just kind of do because I have to, but I don't really enjoy it.
Well, we're about at the end of this minute's discussion, but we're middle of a lyric being delivered. We're right on different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes, and that's where we end. So we've got to continue the song and dance number into tomorrow. But before I do, as we do with every one of these minutes, with our guests especially, we'll go to Matt first. Any other things in your notes, anything else in this minute you want to go back to, discuss, anything we need to bring up that we forgot to?
I don't think we forgot anything. But like I said, I am a little sad that we didn't get to see Igor in the suit and tails like you said was in the deleted scenes. I thought that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, it is funny if you can find it. And I thought we had posted it. Maybe you shared it with me or something, Walt.
Yeah,
I think you should, but we didn't. I don't know if we posted it on our Facebook
we need
page.
To get that out there,
because it is every now and then we can find some of the deleted stuff, and it does exist. Sometimes it's just hard to get. And there is a funny little clip of this where Igor comes out with his coat and tails and makes the line about "Where's your hump?" I don't bring it out at night. It's hysterical. Walt, you got anything else?
The only other thing that I don't think we talked about is Inga. She is so excited. She just is so supportive, so on the doctor's side. She really thinks that this is going to be his big moment, and she has totally bought in, and she's totally on board with him.
She's really happy for him. She's happy the audience is clapping. She's clapping because it's working. I mean, this is the excited spouse. Well, in this case, not a spouse, but obviously that's sort of in the wings supporter of yours.
Yeah.
Who's just, I mean, she's got the mink coat on. She's got the beautiful dress. She's done up for a night on the town. She's also putting on her own Ritz here. Mm-hmm. But she is genuinely happy. There's no faking in her.
No, not at all. Not at all. And she does not have any sense that anything could go wrong here.
No, not at all. And I love that. I love how genuine. Once again, I keep finding using that word for not only Gene Wilder, but Terry Garr's performance just so genuine in this moment. And so many moments where you just feel that emotional connection that she's putting forth right to the camera. And we feel it. And I'm jealous. I'm like, that's a great girl to have.
It is. And it's interesting, too, with her that when I've watched this in the past, I've always been aware of her character, but I've never really paid attention as much. And she really does a great job. And it's such a breakout role for her and well-deserved because she really is just fantastic as Inga.
Well, we'll end the minute here, minute number 81, midway through one of the lyrics of Puttin' on the Ritz. We will keep going tomorrow. Before I get into what's coming up tomorrow, Walt, how do people find out more about us, our podcast, or maybe they've got the clip, they've saved it somewhere on their local hard drive, and they like to upload it to us?
If they've got that clip, or if they want to see more about this episode or this minute of the movie, the best place to find us is facebook.com/The Wilder Ride. And from there, you can join the Wilder Ride listeners group where there is already a ton of great stuff posted. And it's probably the best place to interact about the movie, interact about the podcast, and learn more about Gene and the other cast members.
Matt, you available to come back tomorrow and keep talking about this scene?
Sure, I think I'll stop by.
Excellent, because we will start tomorrow with minute number 82. We will continue the lyrics, cutaway coat, perfect fits. And then we will end with a tap dance routine inserted in the midst of the song, which I think is going to be fairly impressive.
That is going to be interesting.
But you got to come back tomorrow for this, The Wilder Ride.
Can you hand me the Febreze?
It's running away.
Matt, no tacos before we record next time.
Oh, excuse me. Talk about putting on the Ritz. Putting on the...
But I had that one locked and ready to go.